Hello and welcome back to Echo. We will be continuing where we left off with Lights, the short story that is about TJ and the thing that chases him around. It's also sort of like Date, but it focuses more on the supernatural angle that surrounds TJ. Um, Also, I will be doing phone too, so lights and then phone, like I said last time. So again, if you haven't, watched my Echo videos, there will be a link down up in the top right corner right about now for the playlist with all the Echo videos. And I know it's a lot, but trust me, it's worth it. It's not just for the ad revenue, because I think some of the videos can't be monetized because the one song that they use for the diner and I think another song that they use in this game get like pinged that they're copyrighted, so I can't make any money off of that if it shows up. So yeah. Anyways, let's continue with Lights and TJ's other story. November 2010. I looked down at the cup in my hand again, trying not to make eye contact with anyone around me. Part of me wished I had stayed home tonight, but Sarah asked me to come, and I'd feel bad turning her down. She looked so excited when she mentioned how much effort she had and the rest of the Bible group put into this party. She said that after a recent string of storms, the school wanted people to know that there was a severe weather shelter in the basement of the church. At first, I thought it was going to be a bland-looking concrete basement, but as it turns out, Peyton's old school gym is beneath the church. It's a small basketball court with bleachers that fold back against the walls and old basketball rims that are pulled up towards the ceiling so that they're out of the way. Sarah and her friends strung up the streamers and lights along with all sorts of other party decorations, turning this drab old gymnasium into a pretty cool party room. A disco ball hangs from the ceiling, reflecting lights over the room, while a DJ stands off to the side taking requests for which songs to play. So far, mostly 80s and 90s pop songs. A group of adults stand around the DJ, probably to make sure nothing too risque is played. Almost all of us are standing around, talking or avoiding eye contact, save for a few adventurous souls dancing awkwardly next to one another. I finish off the last of my drink and decide to head back over to the punch bowl. I keep my head down, avoiding eye contact as I walk through the crowd. I reach the refreshments table and ladle more juice into my cup, and sigh to myself. I really shouldn't have come here tonight. My parents are out of town for the weekend, and I had to ask Chase and Leo for a ride. I figured since they were already heading to Peyton tonight, that it would be alright, but something about their mood made me think that I had ruined their night. I told them that I'd try to find a ride home with someone else, and that I'd call them if there was any changes, but they said not to bother. Chase said that they'd stick around, that it's not like they had anything better to do. The way that he said it made me realize that I'd made a mistake bringing them into this. I can't take my mind off of it now. I tried to make Sarah's night a little better, but ended up ruining Chase's and Leo's. Now that I'm avoiding Sarah, and I can't help but feel that I'm ruining everyone's night. I have to stop myself from thinking about it too much. I bring my cup up to my lips and drink just so that I'm doing something, if only for a few seconds. I end up downing all of it, and I close my eyes. I focus on slowing my breath to stave off a panic attack I feel coming on. It takes a few minutes, but I finally can feel my heart rate slow and my body relax. Only to be startled by a hand touching my shoulder. Hey! Hey! My voice is squeaky. She smiles a little at that. I was hoping to find you here. I was looking for you earlier, but I got caught up with Jessica and Amber. Her eyes dart around and she blushes. Would you like to dance? I can't help that shocked expression that I'm sure is on my face and my eyes dart to the ground. I start to mumble out an excuse before Sarah reaches for my hand and pulls me to the dance floor. The cup I'm holding slips from my hand as I lose track of myself. Everything seems to fade away as I follow Sarah onto the dance floor. She turns to me and pulls me closer and places my hand on her hip. I hope the music is loud enough to mask the gulp I make when my hand touches her dress. Sarah is wearing an off-white sundress with a red ribbon around her waist, and I can't help but stare with how cute she looks. I feel overdressed in my outfit. My mom had laid out my clothes for me before she and Dad left. a light blue dress shirt, and a tie paired with slacks. Sarah's smile snaps me out of my reminiscing as she waits for me to take the lead. I force myself out of my trance and take a tentative step right onto Sarah's foot. She squeaks and pulls her foot away. Sorry. Sarah just giggles at me while my face burns. There are a few more missteps before we get a rhythm down, and I can't help but feel kind of good about myself. At least, I still have a chance at making Sarah's night and not completely ruining it. Her smile seems to have a way of relaxing my nerves, and soon enough I'm smiling back at her. The next song has a faster tempo, and we let go of each other. Sarah shakes her hips and moves her body to match the beat. I fumble, not knowing what to do with my hands, so I start to copy Sarah and hope she doesn't notice. We dance together, laughing and occasionally singing lyrics to songs we both know. Every now and then we bump into each other, which forces a few laughs out of us, although I'm suspicious that she's doing it on purpose. Before long, the tempo of the music starts to slow, and we find ourselves slow dancing once again. Sarah pulls herself together to me this time, until our bodies press together. She looks me in the eye and smiles warmly before putting her head on my shoulder. My body tenses and I can feel her breath warm against me. I can feel her body press into me as she hugs me tighter. It feels nice. In that moment, I realize just how much Sarah enjoys my friendship. I feel like she trusts me. It's been so long since I felt this comfortable around anyone. Not even Jenna or the others make me feel like this. I haven't felt safe around anyone in such a long time, even my own friends. But with Sarah, it's as if I can let my guard down. I feel like I could do no wrong to her. I gently pull her into me, returning her embrace and smile. Unfortunately, my body reacts to this in the worst way possible and my smile fades as I feel my pants getting tighter. We start to step out of sync and I can feel her torso grind against mine. I can feel her press her hips into mine. I tense as I try to pull my hips away, but that only succeeds in making matters worse as the angle changes and I can feel myself bumping into her. Sarah's hands travel down my back, coming to a rest just above my tail. My entire body is tense and I can feel myself starting to panic before the song fades out for another with a faster tempo. Sarah pulls her head from my shoulder. I love this song. She pulls away and I feel a wave of relief wash over me, hoping she didn't notice or isn't angry about what happened. She starts to bounce and hop to the beat and I follow her lead, but she turns around and pushes her back into me. She gives me a wink over her shoulder, and as she dances, her body grinds against mine. She sways her body while I try to focus on dancing, but I can't keep up. I try to move along with her, but I keep moving the wrong way. I can feel my crotch grind against her body. Panicking, I take a step back, and she follows me. The song seems to go on forever. The music finally changes and I can't focus on anything other than what's going on in my pants. Sarah looks at me and before I can react, kisses me on the cheek. Thanks for dancing with me, TJ. Even in the dim lighting, I can see her blushing face. I'm gonna take a break, but I want to dance with you again before the party ends, okay? Okay. I watch as she walks away, not realizing my eyes are on her hips until she disappears into the crowd. A tightness in my pants snaps me back to reality and I fumble to put my hands in my pockets, hoping to hide what's going on in there. I look around for the signs of the bathroom and I make my way out of the party room. The exit is a long tunnel that leads to the church. The air here is damp and cold. As I step into the hallway, I feel a wave of cold air hit me. I realize how warm I am. I'm practically panting. I groan as I realize I'm probably looking like an idiot dancing with Sarah. My feet make almost no sound thanks to the natural padding. Actually, I tend to sneak up on people a lot. It's kind of funny when I manage to startle Jenna, although she made a point of evening the score. The restroom is a one person at a time kind, and I lock the door behind me. As I'm going, I remember that Chase and Leo are somewhere around here. Maybe I should go and chat with them. I finish up and make my way down the long, empty hallway. I try looking for Leo and Chase, but it's hard to see much in here. I stand up on my tippy toes, hoping to see Leo's ears since he's so tall. Nothing. I circle the room twice before I give up. Maybe they went outside? I make my way back to the exit and walk down the silent hallway again. This time I turn the opposite direction at the end and make my way upstairs and into the church. The chapel ceiling makes the hall seem twice as large as it is. Candles sit lining racks along the walls. A few are lit, but most are not. An altar made of marble and covered in white cloth with gold trim stands in front of a big wooden cross. A wooden podium stands off to the left for the priest to give his sermon. Wooden pews fill the empty space in the hall, while a balcony for the choir overlook the entire chapel. The church organ is on the balcony, probably so kids don't mess with it. I walk through the front door, thinking that maybe they went out for some fresh air. No one there. I make my way to the parking lot to see if Leo's truck is still there. My heart sinks a little lower as I walk towards the lot, the thought of them abandoning me at the weird Christian party at the front of my mind. Luckily, I spot Leo's truck sitting near the back of the lot. So at least they're still here. But that's not where we parked when we got here. That's weird. Maybe they went to get something. I head over to the truck, passing under the street lamps. The lights are dim and the lot is mostly dark, including the space Leo's truck is occupying. I assume that they just got back from wherever they went and are still in there, so I've made my way towards the truck. I can start making out that someone is in the driver's seat, but the passenger seat is empty. I can't quite make out who it is, but it has to be Leo, right? I can see his silhouette lined by the back window, but something seems off, like it doesn't really look like him. I slow my pace and try to make out what I'm seeing. I stop about 30 feet from the truck and squint my eyes. Suddenly, the silhouette starts to move, but not just that, it starts to morph and change, and split in two. The second shadow moves to the passenger seat. I start backpedaling as the driver's side door opens, and I'm about to turn and run when the headlights come on and Leo leans out. Hey, TJ, is that you? I stop and relax, internally chastising myself for being so skittish. Yeah, I was looking for you and Chase. Where did you go? I walk more confidently towards Leo, and as I reach the car, Leo closes the door and rolls down the window. Leo looks to his right. Chase is sitting in the passenger seat. He looks a little embarrassed and also a little annoyed. He has a jacket over his lap, and his bare legs are sticking out from beneath it. Leo clears his throat. We just went for a... Chase seems to snicker at that. Oh, okay. I'm still not sure what they're talking about, but I have my suspicions. I look at Chase. So, are you going to the party? Leo looks at Chase, who sighs heavily, like he's just put down a giant weight. I don't know about that, TJ. It's kinda awkward. Not really into that whole Kool-Aid thing. That last part comes out all mumbly and quiet. I flatten my ears and my head and ball my fists. Quit acting like this is some cult, Chase. My eyes go wide when I realize that I said that out loud. Chase rolls his eyes and makes a t sound with his mouth. I know, TJ. I was just joking. I clench my fists harder. No, you're not. You always mumble stuff like that when all I'm trying to do is include you guys. Chase glares at me before responding. Well, maybe it's because I'm not comfortable being in a place that thinks people like me and Leo are disgusting. Who in there thinks you're disgusting? You know, most of them. You've hung out with me and Sarah before. So, who in there thinks you're disgusting? Chase rolls his eyes again, and Leo seizes the opportunity to step in and raise his hands. Look, Chase, we're here on TJ's behalf. The least we can do is stop in and say hi. Chase mumbles something again, but I ignore it. We'll head inside a bit, Tej, and we'll stick around for a little while, and then we'll all head home, okay? Leo's tone puts me at ease again, but I'm still uptight after what Chase said. Listen, I'm going for a quick walk, to get some fresh air. Leo shoots a quick glare at Chase before turning to me. Alright, we'll be inside when you get back, okay? I nod, and because I don't want to have to say anything more, I turn and fast walk towards the road, passing under the dim lights of the parking lot as I do. I notice my lungs fill with cold air, and a pressure seems to lift off my body. I wonder if that's what it's like to go through a panic attack. It sure felt like one. I struggle to undo my cufflinks, noticing how shaky my hands are, but I manage to undo the pins and let my wrists breathe. I loosen my tie and unbutton the top few buttons of my shirt, feeling like I can actually breathe again. I look around at the long stretch of road that runs past the church. There are some houses nearby, but the road is pretty empty except for the street lamps. On one side of the road is a rocky gravel-covered hill, while the other side is flat open ground with the occasional house nearby. I stand on the side of the road under the street lamps for a few minutes more, and I don't really know why, but I take a step towards the darkness of Echo. As I walk down the road, I can feel the gravel shift under my toe pads, and it tickles my feet. I force myself to smile, and I try to think about other happy little things in my life, but all I can think about is Chase and Leo. I sort of disconnect from what I'm seeing, drawing into myself as I wonder why I thought it had been a good idea to invite Chase. He's always been kind of mean, but today it's even worse for some reason. He'd always been okay with me and my beliefs, but I guess actually bringing him here had been too much. I stop and snap back to reality. It's completely dark and I look up. It seems I've walked past the streetlights on this road. I turn around and look back towards the church. I didn't realize that I had walked this far. I can barely make it out from here. How long have I been walking? I sigh and start to head back, putting my hands in my pockets as I pick up the pace. I'm unnerved with how loud my footsteps are now. Each footstep is like nails on a chalkboard, causing the fur on my back of my neck to stand up. As I make it back under the closest street lamp, I check my phone to see what time it is. 9:30. I wish I had checked before I started walking, but I figure the party should have at least an hour left. I continue walking and I go to put my phone in my pocket. I miss and it tumbles to the ground. I stop to pick it up. The fur on the back of my neck stands up again. I thought I heard footsteps. After I stopped walking, there were echoes, but something about a few of them sounded different. But it had to be the echo, right? I stand up and look behind me, but I don't see anything. I squint my eyes, looking into the blackness, but I can't make anything out. I listen for anything, and I think I can hear breathing, but when I try to focus on it, a steady, high-pitched ringing starts to build. The more I try to focus, the louder it gets. I try to focus on anything other than that sound, but there's nothing to hear. It's gotten so loud that I don't think I'll be able to hear a jet engine at this point. I feel my lungs start to burn, and I release the breath I hadn't realized that I'd been holding. I was so focused on hearing something, anything, other than that ringing that I had ignored everything else. I inhale, the night air pierced by the sound of my breathing being released. I must be going crazy. I take one last look around and start back towards the church again. But once I step out of the light, I swear I can hear footsteps start up behind me again. I focus on steadying my breathing and listen for any out-of-place sounds again. I keep my head low and try to catch a glimpse of anything out of the corner of my eyes. I look ahead to see how far I am from the church, and my heart sinks. I'm not even close. I look towards the houses on the side of the road, but only one remains between me and the church, and it's still a few street lamps away. Even in the dark, I can see that it's a dilapidated mess, and no lights shine from inside of it. There are trees growing all around it and overtaking what's left of the house. I consider running and hiding in there, but there's no guarantee that the doors are unlocked, or worse yet, maybe that's where the person who's following me lives. Just keep walking. I can't see anyone, so it might all be in my head. Even if it's someone following me, who's to say it isn't someone from the church? That would make them a good person, right? I make it under another streetlight, and then another. I pass under another two before I make it in front of the dilapidated house. Just then I hear ragged breathing coming from behind me, and I spin around with a yelp. But there's no one there. A whine escapes my throat as I look into the darkness. Shouldn't I be relieved that no one's there? But I can still hear the ragged breathing. It sounds like it's coming from everywhere. I can hear it to my left, but I can't see anything. I look to my right, but I don't see anything. I spin around, looking in all directions, but I can't see anything. I turn my back towards the light pole, and I slowly back up. Tears fill my eyes. Hello? Is anyone there? This isn't funny. I jump in surprise when my back touches the light pole. I can hear his ragged breathing coming from my right and moving to the left, just outside of the light. I shift on my feet and I can hear his footsteps echoing in the darkness. Hello? That's when I see something. I think I can see him moving from around in the darkness. A tall, lanky figure. He bends down and starts to walk on all fours, but what I can make out disappears into the darkness again. It can be heard pacing around me as it starts to come closer to the light pole. I turn and back myself into the middle of the shining light. I hug my arms to my chest and whimper. I don't know where it is anymore. Whatever it is. I try to listen again, but that terrible ringing pierces my ears. I feel my face scrunch up and tears run down my cheeks. I feel another whimper escape my throat and I look around into the night. I look back towards Echo and I see a car driving towards me and I feel a sense of hope wash over me. I start to look around, making sure that the thing isn't going to grab me out of the shadows. I start to wave down the car, but as it pulls closer the lights dim and I can see into it. My heart sinks and I back away towards the light pole as I glimpse the silhouette of the horns in the driver's seat and a bright red eye looking back at me. I stumble backwards away from the car. It pulls up next to me and rolls the window down. TJ? Carl? Carl nods in a manner that says, the one and only, and he pulls a cigarette out of his mouth. What are you doing? I let out a sigh of relief and rush forward, grabbing at the door handle. Whoa there, Tej. I gotta unlock the door first. I fiddle with the handle and Carl tells me to stop so that he can open the door. I force myself to let go and look around, afraid that something is going to jump out of me right before I can reach safety. I can smell something bad in the air now, like someone who hasn't bathed in months or a rotting dead animal. It's closer now. I hear the doors click open and I scramble for the handle again. I can hear Carl mention the door being open and that I could sit in the front if I'd like, but I ignore him, too focused on getting inside the car. Yanking on the door, I step back to make room for it to swing outward. In that moment, I feel a presence and my hair raise on my neck. I rush to get into the back seat, and as I look down for the step, I swear I can see a shadowy hand reaching from under the car. I quickly jump into the back seat and slam the door shut. Carl looks back at me with a smile. What are you doing there, Tej? You feeling all right? Without looking at him, I mumble something about needing a walk. I'm still too busy checking to make sure that nothing is waiting outside of the car watching us, or trying to get in. I feel a shifting in my seat and the car starts to move. I take in a deep inward breath and let out a sigh of relief. I turn and look back over my shoulder at where I was trapped a few moments ago. I blink a few times to clear my eyes and I can blurrily see the silhouette of a lanky, misshapen person standing just outside of the light. But we pull too far away for me to make anything out clearly. I turn back around and lean my head back into the headrest and close my eyes, feeling them well up with tears. I jump when Carl starts talking again. So, TJ, what the heck were you doing out here anyway? Did something happen? I needed to clear my mind, so I went for a walk. All the way out here? I was at the church. I point out the window to the side of the car it would be on, but we're already past it and into Peyton. I think about telling him what just happened, but I can't figure out how to explain it right now. Carl keeps asking me questions all the while I tell him about my evening, the party, Sarah, Chase and Leo. I leave out everything that happened after I left the church for reasons I can't explain. I decide to focus on the part with Chase getting on my nerves, and he just laughs it off saying that that's just how Chase and Leo are. He asks if he should drop me off back at the church, and I tell him no, almost too quickly. I don't want to go back there, but I don't want to be alone. So instead, I ask him if I can go over to his place for a bit. He replies with an ecstatic, "Of course!" And I message Leo and Chase to let them know. He mentions that he was going into Peyton to buy a new game that just came out. He laughs and says that he hopes that I don't mind if we have to wait a bit for it. I mumble that it's fine, as long as the place we're going is well lit. And that was Lights, the short story for TJ. Obviously, if you've played Echo or, again, saw my videos, which you should if you haven't, you'll know who that tall, lanky figure is. If you don't know, then, that's spoiler, so I can't tell you who it is. But it should be obvious if you've at least played Flynn's route. Or actually Jenna's route, too. It makes it painfully obvious who that lanky figure is. But anyways, what did you think? Had you ever actually read the story before? Because I think this was one of the more well-known stories, aside from Phone. But yeah. It also shows that tall, lanky figure, who shall remain nameless, really was chasing TJ around all the time. And if you played Echo, or again, saw the videos, TJ makes a point to say that when he was younger, and even during the Hysteria incident, that that figure basically is chasing him around during that moment in time. In fact, in the Jenna route, when you find TJ towards the end, he's running away from something, and he says that it's a monster. In Flynn's route, when he's telling Flynn what he wants to know, he mentions a tall, lanky figure. He also mentions that when he tried to tell all the adults, back, because he's like, what, 9 or 8, or actually like 5 or something like that, around that time, that he saw something when Sydney was drowning. Nobody ever believed him, so he just decided to keep that little bit of information to himself. So yeah. Anyways, okay, so now we're continuing with Phone, the story where Chase and Leo's relationship sort of comes to a head, and it, that's where things go south for them. But technically in Lights, things... Actually, no, in Runaway, things were already starting to sour, but it isn't until Phone where things just break. Not unlike a phone. But yeah, so let's begin, and you guys can see what happens. May 2012. I pull up to the old fast food joint in my shitty old truck, the fan blasting hot desert air. I look around the sun-baked parking lot, but I don't see Chase's car yet. Taking out my phone, I check the time and scan through my messages. He told me he got out of lunch 15 minutes ago, but it's 20 minutes later now. There's still a little pang of worry, mostly because I know how shitty a driver Chase is, but he's usually late, so I squash that. I give my pits a quick check. Driving around with a broken AC is fucking torture in this weather, but the antiperspirant seems to be holding up alright. After giving them a quick whiff, I recline and put my paws behind my head to air out and maybe catch a quick nap. Sure, it's a pain in the ass having to come down here when I'm this tired. Dad's working me to the goddamn bone, and the restaurant is on the opposite side of Payton. But seeing Chase makes it worth it. It isn't often that we get to have lunch together. The lunch hour being as short as it is only gives us about 20 minutes to really talk. I'm starting to doze off when I hear a knock on my window. I give a little start and open my eyes, squinting against the desert sun reflecting off a car bumper in front of me. Looking to my left, Chase's adorable otter face greets me through the window, grinning. All of the bad mood I had earlier evaporates away, as if it were water under this fucking sun, and Chase steps back as soon as I open the door. Hey, babe. I step out and pull him into a hug. Hey. He says it against my chest, rubbing his nose in like he always does while I run my paw around his back. Man, that swimming team is really slimming you down. I pinch his sides appreciatively. He wiggles under my fingers and returns the favor to my own waist. And you're getting squishy. Hey! I pretend to be offended, giving him a mock growl, letting it vibrate from my chest into his nose. Wouldn't be that way if you didn't keep picking fat factories like this. No more football doesn't help either. I like it. I'm actually really proud of him right now. He used to be so worried about people seeing us like this, but now he's hugging me like no one's around. I decided to go a bit further and give him a quick lick on one of those stubby cute ears, and he gives a little shiver and laughs. Stop! Let's go inside. It's too hot out here. As he turns away from me, he lets his thick tail push up against my crotch, shoving my junk up against my body. It actually hurts more than it feels good. He really doesn't get how strong that thing is, but he gets me going anyways. After we put our orders and get our drinks, we both stare down at the greasy table, Chase wiping an old fry off his booth. You know, we could go to a different restaurant if we had time and I had money. It's fine, as long as we're not doing it every day. I stretch back, purposefully puffing my chest out so my already tight shirt hugs my body even tighter. It's not lost on Chase as he gazes at the chest ruff poking out through my shirt, and I'm satisfied as I see a longing look come across his face. That's not fair, Leo. I got another 3 hours of school. I'm just showing you what's waiting for you at home. He rolls his eyes before pulling out his phone. Hey, no texting. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about? He doesn't put it away. Well, I toy with the straw in my cup. Is now a good time to bring it up? I always get annoyed when I see people making a scene in restaurants. Like it's the perfect place to tell someone it's over, or that they're gay. But Chase seems to be in a good mood. It's probably as good a time as any. Have you decided what you're gonna do after school? Chase finally puts his phone down on the table, closes his eyes, sighing, and makes me nervous. Don't worry about it right now, Leo. I've still got a few months to decide. Fuck, how can he not worry when all that's gonna do is make me worry? And the way he says it, it sounds like he's already made a decision. I open my muzzle again, but he stands up, straightening his tight shirt as he does. I'm going to the bathroom. Be right back. I grunt, and he heads off towards the back of the restaurant while I slump in my seat. The idea of Chase leaving is fucking terrifying. We've been this way for the past 2.5 years, and the way he's treating this decision like it's a fucking annoyance makes me all the more frustrated. I feel like this relationship has only really come into its own over the past year. Mostly because Chase turned 18, and we don't have to worry about stupid shit anymore. His phone buzzes a few times, and I look at it out of habit. Then it really starts buzzing, and I realize someone's calling him. Incoming call, Jared. A face that I don't recognize pops up on the screen. It's a wolf of some kind, a gray wolf, I think, and he's ridiculously handsome, model handsome actually. I furrow my brows, then look back behind me at the bathroom, but Chase isn't there. Fuck it, I could just say I was picking it up for him anyway. I grab the phone and stab the green pickup symbol before holding it up to my ear. Since Chase has that stubby muzzle thing going for him, his phone doesn't pull out like mine, so I have to try and direct my voice out to the side of my mouth. Who's this? I curse silently as I realize that if I wanted the guy to talk, that probably wasn't the best way to do it, and sure enough, I hear a click as he hangs up. I feel my heart beating fast as I pull the phone down from my ear. I stare at the screen for a while and barely realize it goes black. There's no way he'd do this, would he? I slide my finger around the black screen for a while, then turn it back on as I navigate to the texts. Sure enough, there's a thread under the name Jared with over 1,000 texts. My throat's dry as I tap on it and look at the most recent messages. 11:52. Hey boy, where you at? 11:55. I miss you. 12:02. Calling now. Hey! I whip my head up and see Chase staring down at me, an exasperated grin on his muzzle. I almost lower my ears in shame at being caught, but I catch myself before I do. He's the one who has some explaining to do. Who the fuck is this? I shove the phone in his face, realizing that I've lost my chance at approaching this delicately. I also notice a few heads turning our way and that I've suddenly become the guy I didn't want to be. Chase takes his phone and quickly sits down, his eyes wide as he makes a shushing shape with his mouth. That only pisses me off more, but at the same time I feel something really sharp and painful in my chest. Is this really happening? So, you are leaving? Running off to fuck some other wolf? Now people are really staring, and Chase winces, and he ducks his head lower to the table. It's a joke, Leo, calm down. A joke? I don't understand what that means exactly, but I'm starting to. I don't say anything, so Chase keeps going. Jenna, we We were just trying to have some fun. I was starting to realize this probably wasn't the best time, but... Jenna. That explains it, but the anger and betrayal I'm feeling doesn't go away like it should. Now I'm livid. So you're just playing this stupid game of keeping me guessing whether or not you're going to ditch me next year, and then you pull this shit? I raise my voice for the last part, and there's a noticeable lull in the conversations all around us. A few people glance at us, then look away, but I can tell all of their ears are pointed in our direction. Outside, Leo. He says it like he's talking to a toddler, then stands up and goes straight for the door. Again, I'm pissed off even more, the way he's treating me like a little kid. I deserve it, I know, but I can't help it. I follow him out into the hot air again, trying to ignore the heads turning as I walk by. The hell is wrong with you? He whirls on me. I'm shocked he looks almost as angry as I am. Me? You know, I told Jenna that there was no way in hell that you'd fall for this, since you already know how I felt about you. I'm the one that should be fucking offended that you think that. That's not fair. You wanted a reaction from me, and you got one. Happy? I fold my arms and glare at him. Chase folds his arms too, and he slumps against the wall, looking away from me. He's sad, and that fucking hurts. I was looking forward to this all day, and he probably was too. It's almost enough to make me take everything back. Almost. Then Jenna shows up, her light blonde fur almost making her hard to look at as she lights up under the sun. She comes running over from the parking lot to hop up onto the sidewalk, standing next to Chase. I should have known how strange it was that Chase would park so far away from me. She'd been sitting in there this whole time, probably watching us through the windows. What's wrong, Leo? The glee in her voice brings it all back, and I realize who I'm really mad at. She probably pushed him into this whole thing. This was your idea? I reach out and grab the phone from Chase's paw and hold it out to her. She's still grinning, though the initial happiness morphs into a more condescending look that makes me grit my teeth. It's a prank, Leo. Making me think that I just lost my otter is a prank? If this is a fucking joke, then you need to learn how to make one first. Why don't you learn how to take one? How was I supposed to take that? Just laugh and shrug and say, well, fuck, so much for that. Is that what you expected? I throw my arms out in a big, exaggerated shrug. Jenna frowns and lowers her ears. Actually, we just thought that you wouldn't fall for it, at least not this hard. I mean, come on, I cropped that from the cover of some teen magazine. It was my number 2 if you didn't notice. She continues to frown at me. Chase still looking away from us, and I feel like the big asshole that's ruined everyone's fun. It just wasn't a good time, alright? No? No. Why the fuck is she doing this right now? I just wanted to talk to Chase alone. I look back into the restaurant and a server behind the counter is looking at us, a tray of food in her paws. Some of the patrons are staring too, like I give a fuck. What the hell are you doing here anyway? Semester ended last week. So you're staying at home for the summer? I give her a confused look. Of course not. I'm staying with Emily. I take a deep breath and close my eyes. I'd honestly be happy to hear Jenna was gonna be around for the summer if she hadn't introduced herself in such a fucked up way. I hear her give a heavy sigh and I open my eyes to see her rubbing her head, like I'm just the biggest disappointment. You need to calm down, Leo. How can we ever have fun if you're exploding all the time? I grit my teeth again, and I have to work not to snarl. Telling me to calm down is the worst thing you can do right now. I'm tired, I'm hot, and I just wanted to have lunch with Chase. I glance at the phone and see it's already 20 past the hour, which means Chase has to leave now. I squeeze the phone hard in my paw. But Jenna doesn't seem to notice. You're overreacting. I feel something snap inside, and rather than chuck the phone in Jenna's direction, I spin and start to throw it down on the sidewalk. I realize at the last second that it's Chase's phone that I'm throwing, and I try to grab it up at the same time I throw it. I only succeed in clipping a corner, which sends it into a flip before it hits the concrete. The crunch sound along with the sparkling spray of glass tells us all that I just smashed the phone to hell. I wince and flatten my ears. I stare at the little black square for a while, feeling both of their eyes on the back of my head. ¿Qué mierda fue eso? I curse myself, though I said it enough times before that I know Chase recognizes the phrase. Slowly, I turn around, my face flushing as I try to meet eyes with him. Otter, I'm sorry. I'll buy you. I'm going to Pueblo, Leo. He's looking at me now, and his hazel eyes feel like they're piercing right through me. I stare at him for a second, as if I can't understand, but I feel my stomach sink even as I speak. What? He's sucking in his cheeks to stop himself from frowning, the way he does when he's trying not to cry. Jenna's silent, looking away, but my gut tells me she already knows this, and that starts to bring back some of the anger. What the hell are you talking about? I said I'm going to Pueblo in August. I got accepted in January. I don't know what to say. I feel like I've been punched in the stomach and I can't get my air back to make words. I say all I can manage. Chase. He turns away from me. I gotta go back. I'm already gonna be late. Jenna looks over at me, and I finally see some remorse in her face before she jogs to catch up with Chase. I hear her start to apologize. I watch him go, desperately wanting to run up and pull him into my arms, and tell him I'm sorry, but I know that'll probably make things worse. He likes to be left alone when he's pissed like this, but after dropping that bomb, I want to talk to him right now. No, we'll figure this out. I'll just talk to him once school lets out. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Just a few more hours. I watch them pull out of the parking lot, and I wish he'd look at me as they drive past, but he doesn't. Neither does Jenna. I hesitate, then pick up Chase's phone, because he's gonna need to recover some shit from it when I buy him a new one, then hop into my truck. I sit there for a second, not sure what to do. I feel sick and angry, and tired all the same time. A lot of this is my fault. I punch the steering wheel, and that feels good, so I do it again, but then I realize people are still staring at me through the windows. I flip them off before I put the truck in gear. Is this why Chase is leaving me? Because I can't control my fucking temper sometimes? No, not leaving me. Just working things out. As I'm driving down the road, the churning feeling in my gut finally gets to me, and I pull my phone out, looking up now and then to correct my steering. I type what I hope is a heartfelt apology. In the middle of it, I remember that his phone is sitting in my cup holder, fucking broken. I finally let out a snarl that I've been holding back and throw my phone into the passenger seat, accidentally swerving and setting off a few honks. I grip the steering wheel with both paws, blinking furiously as the road starts to blur. No, I'm not gonna cry. This'll work out fine. We'll just need to talk out like we always do, and even if he does leave, we'll work something out. I'm not gonna fuck this up. I'm not gonna lose my temper ever again. I'm not gonna lose him. And that was the end of Phone. As you can see, the whole situation was very messy. And while it wasn't Jenna's, well, I will say it wasn't Jenna's intention to sort of cause what happened to happen, I kind of feel like it was. And why do I say this? Because again, in the story Runaway, we can see that Jenna sort of had it out for Leo, or at the very least, wanted to give herself the opportunity to, get with Chase. I don't know why you would want to get with Chase, that little musky fuck. But yeah, I kind of feel like it was sort of her intention to slowly drive a wedge, or maybe she realized that eventually they would have to split up, so she sort of put the first nail on the coffin, hoping, or like tip the first domino, hoping that everything would, just sort of fall into place. But honestly, for me at least, if she knew that Chase was gonna have to leave for Pueblo, and that she hadn't told, or that Chase hadn't told Leo yet, that prank was pretty fucked up. Like, very, very fucked up. As far as I see it, at least. Maybe it wasn't her intention for the things to blow up as they did, but it is kind of her fault. Well, not completely. It's also Chase's fault for not talking with Leo, but still. It was very bad. You can also see right there that Leo was already sort of losing it. Like, the Shadow Chase or Tulpa Chase, however you want to call him, was like right there in the scene. And in the original short story, it doesn't show up, but they just added it, I guess, for emphasis. Because even while you're not in Echo, the town is still influencing you. So you're, I guess, at that time, Leo was feeding into the idealized version of Chase, which becomes the Tulpa. But yeah. I do feel bad for Leo. I feel bad for all the characters, including Jenna. Like, I don't mean to drag her back into this. I don't hate Jenna, okay? But I do feel bad for Leo because he was already feeling the stress of like, well, what's gonna happen between me and, Chase? And then this happens. So yeah. So it's not that difficult to see how Tulpa Chase came to, into being. But he's also kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And staying in Echo did not help him. But yeah. Also, is it in here? If you watch my videos again, did you watch them? Or if you played Echo yourself, you will note that while Chase is gone, he keeps talking to Leo. Over the course of those 3 years, he keeps sort of leading him on, which sort of adds to the crazy Leo-ness. Which, this is why I say that it's not completely Leo's fault. It's the town's fault. It is Leo's own mental state, but it also wasn't helped by Chase sort of feeding into it. So that's how the Tulpa Chase came into, being, and also why Leo just doesn't seem to be over it when Chase goes to town in Echo, for his school project. But anyways, enough about Leo. So, write down what your thoughts on Lights and Phone are in, the comment section, and so far on the stories. And if you like them so far, because when I read them, I liked them. So yeah. Anywho, well, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Echo yourself and, play the short stories yourself, you can find it over on Itch. And you can find a direct link to it on the Echo Project's Twitter page, which I will link down in the description. And if you would like to support the Echo Project, you can support them over on Patreon, and you'll get early access to all of their other visual novels. And yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will continue Party, Metaphor, and Trip in the next video. So for now, I will see you then.